Good evening, Mayor and City Council. I have a few acronyms in my council report tonight, so I'll try to be careful and not repeat those as if they were just the normal words. Tonight we're looking at an agenda item that will assist us in funding the Intermodal Transit Center, which we also have a report from Bill Belknap on the agenda tonight. But over the last decade, Congress has dispersed a lot of funding through the Federal Highway Administration through earmark processes, where some people say pet projects have received a lot of funding, and over this last year, Congress has decided not to release funds through an earmark process anymore, and so they have chosen to go through a discretionary funding program, which takes us back to a process of writing a grant application and competitively applying for those funds. And so a couple of the programs that we applied for in the past, the 5309 program, which was under bus and bus facilities, went through an earmark process. So they've removed that process and now have developed 11 new programs under the Federal Highway Administration, each which have their own different requirements and regulations. And one of the programs this year we were able to identify was the one that is called the Transportation Community Systems Preservation Program, the TCSP program. And staff identified that program through an announcement that we received through the Idaho Transportation Department, and that was through their Office of Transportation Investments. So it's under the ITD umbrella, not a department that we had worked with before, but found them very happy to provide us with information and assist us in putting this application together. So this new program that we prepared the application for had similar requirements as the Tiger II grant application that we had been awarded last year for $1.5 million for the Intermodal Center. So we felt very comfortable being able to submit the application and prepare it in a timely manner. The turnaround we had on this was a little less than a week, and so we had to move real quickly. We had to have a preliminary application to them week before last and final exhibits last week. They will not be submitting it, though, until this upcoming week, but they had their deadline before. So they were putting together an application of all 11 programs and submitting them jointly with other state applications. Last I spoke to them, I think they had 36 requests that they were submitting in one application to the Federal Highway Administration, and one of those is ours. But under the TCSP program, there were only 3 other applications. They're not sure how Congress is going to go about awarding these programs yet. The details of that have not been outlined. You know, we got our application, it was put in, we weren't able to make the agenda for the previous committee meeting, so that's why I'm here tonight on the regular agenda presenting this to you. So what we prepared was an application for $625,000. $510,000 of that was for construction costs for the Intermodal Center, and $115,000 was for a 34-passenger bus, which is a little bit different than what you normally see from us, but this program did allow us to request rolling stock, and it was an opportunity that we could work with our local public transit provider and possibly be able to obtain a vehicle for them. We already had $125,000 match placed in the budget through the Intermodal Center that we can use for match for this project without having to budget anything else. That funding was not already committed to any other grants. It was cash that the city was putting into that project, so we can use that for match for this application if it's successful. I think other than just explaining that, you know, it's a new process, and so we'll just have to wait and see how it works out. But our request here tonight is then to go ahead and receive your approval to continue on with the submission of the statewide ITD OTI application to the Federal Highway Administration under the TCSP Discretionary Funding Program for $625,000 for the Intermodal Transit Center construction and the purchase of a 34-passenger bus.
Thank you, Elisa. And I'll open it up for questions. Yes, Dan.
Do you have any more TLAs?
No, she left out X, Y, and Z.
That's 3-letter acronyms. But
Yeah.
anyhow, ITD is basically the applicant to Federal Highway Administration for the entire state. So
Yes.
they've got 36 that they're bundling up. Are we going to have to recompete for these dollars once ITD gets them, or are we, if they get it, are we guaranteed X dollars, or at least if it's a lesser amount, are we guaranteed the percentage we applied for?
You know, I asked that question, and they said they didn't have all the details of how that would work. What they did tell me was that there were only 2 other applications besides ours that was being submitted, or excuse me, 3 other applications besides ours that was being submitted under the program we submitted. So each of the 11 programs have different requirements. So it would be my understanding that if the TCSP program was awarded funding, and based upon whatever percentage we've asked for under that and what we're awarded, that's probably how it would work. And that's how we had done it in the past when we applied for earmark funding and we received less than what we applied for. It was based upon a percentage of whatever the total award was and how much we originally asked for. I don't know if the Federal Highway Administration will take particular projects and pull them out and fund them separately. I think we're just, this is all new ground without the earmark process being in place, so we'll just have to wait and see how it happens.
Okay. Thank you.
Tim?
Lisa, thank you for your quick turnaround and quick response on this. I would move that we approve the funding request submitted for inclusion in the statewide Idaho Department of Transportation OTI application to the Federal Highway Administration under the TCSP discretionary funding program for the $625,000 to be used for the ITC construction and purchase of a 34-passenger bus.
I'll second. We have Tim's motion and Sue's second. Is there additional discussion? Wayne?
Just another question I had for Lisa. On this 34-passenger bus, assuming we acquired the entire grant, who would actually take ownership of the bus? Would that be RPT?
We have a couple of different options. The city could, the city would actually be the owner of it, and then we could lease it, or for a dollar lease, or however we would want to do that. But it would actually be, it's owned by the governmental agency until it's fully depreciated out anyhow, so that's usually about 5 years. But I'm assuming because we're the applicant, it would be in our name in addition to whoever the awarding agency is, and then you can subcontract to have it to have the services provided by the public transit provider.
Well, I can see that's something that we'd have to have a discussion with staff and RPT. I don't think the city of Moscow wants to run a competition with Moscow Valley Transit.
No, and that wasn't the intent. The intent was to be able to, if we were awarded the bus, be able to allow them to use it on our behalf.
Sure. Okay.
And just for clarification, the RPT that Wayne is referring to is
Rural Public Transportation, we all know as Moscow Valley Transit. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? And hearing none, we'll start the roll call vote with you, Sue.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
That motion carries, and I join the council in thanking Elisa and probably Lisa and other staff in their work on that.
And translation.
And